Politicians are on their way back to Canberra for the first sitting week of Parliament since the election. Labor returns with an increased majority and a much simpler path through the Senate. Well, after Cameron Redden in Canberra. Cam, good morning. So how does the Prime Minister want to kick off his second term?
He wants this to be a bit of steady as she goes, Pete. Back to business as usual when Parliament returns tomorrow. The Prime Minister believes that steady, orderly, methodical approach in the first term. He says he wants to continue that in the second term without any major changes in direction. When Parliament does sit for the first time since the election tomorrow, it will look very different. Labor having 94 seats in the lower house, one of its strongest returns on record. The Coalition just 43 seats. It has never had a smaller representation in the lower house since its parties were created, certainly since the Liberal Party was created. For the government too in the Senate, it'll be a slightly simpler path. It just needs to do a deal with the Greens or some hodgepodge of the crossbench in order to get things through the Senate. So a slightly easier task there. In terms of the priorities for these first two sitting weeks, in amongst all the ceremonial bits and pieces that'll happen this week, the first order of business will be removing up to 20% of student debt. That was the first piece of legislation the Prime Minister promised to move on, as well as other things like enshrining penalty rates into law and also strengthening childcare safety laws. For the Coalition's part, they're still recovering from that election result in somewhat of political Siberia today, and it's taking some time to assess what positions it'll take on a whole range of issues, including what policies it might put forward over the months ahead. At this stage, not wanting to call too many of its shots, saying it wants to work with the government where it can, but is still vowing to stand by its beliefs without explicitly stating its position on different policies yet.
There's going to be a number of things on the agenda. I'd imagine it will change up over the next week, the next 2 weeks. The Coalition will look at every single item individually. We will discuss it in the party room. We'll make sure that we come up with a position that's consistent with what we believe in.
With 24 new MPs too, Pete, there'll be plenty happening inside the House. We will be watching what happens outside too on the lawns of Parliament. There were some protesters yesterday, anti-Israel, pro-Palestine protests on the lawns of Parliament. More are scheduled for today and tomorrow, so we'll see just how big they get. And we know that they've been quite intense in other cities. There's a deliberate focus on this first week of Parliament from this particular protest movement, so that will be one to watch as well.